Hello, I am teacher Milena Mendes and welcome to the video lesson of topic 16, Quantifiers, how much or how many? Before we start to understand how to use how much or how many, we need to understand that in English, just like in any other language, the nouns can be either countable or uncountable. That means they can either be put on the plural form or not. For example, 1 egg, 2 eggs. You can count the eggs. 1 cell phone, 5 cell phones. You can count the cell phones. But you cannot count the water, for example. 1 water, 5 waters. That doesn't work. In English, you need a quantifier. For example, 1 glass of water, 1 bottle of water. The same thing goes for time, for example. You cannot say 1 time, 2 time. You can say 1 hour, 2 hours. Now that we have understood, we can either have countable or uncountable nouns, we can jump into how much or how many. Let's look at the examples. For countable nouns, we are going to use the expression how many in different forms. For example, restaurants. 1 restaurant, 2 restaurants. So it's a countable noun. Are there many restaurants in your neighborhood? And the answers can vary. Yes, there are a lot. There are a few. No, there aren't many. No, there aren't any. No, there are none. Notice that for all the answers we are using the verb to be are because that's the verb to be for the plural forms. Another question can be, how many restaurants are there in your neighborhood? There are 10, 12, 15. You just give the number if you know it. If you don't, you can use one of the quantifiers above. For the uncountable nouns, we're going to use how much and much in different questions. For example, crime. Crime is a noun that you cannot count. Is there much crime in your city? And the answers can vary also. Yes, there is a lot. There is a little. No, there isn't much. No, there isn't any. No, there's none. Notice that for these answers, we are using the verb to be is because they are all in the singular form since you cannot count them in the plural. Another question can be, how much crime is there in your city? There is a lot of crime. And I know it can be a little confusing to remember if how many or how much is going to be used for countable or uncountable, but here's a little trick to help you never forget it. Pretty simple. Now you're not going to forget it. Now let's go for other examples for you to clearly understand how to use how much and how many. Think about your neighborhood, the place where you live. Let's talk about parking. Parking is an uncountable noun. So the question is there much parking? Now let's talk about apartment buildings. It's in the plural form, so it's a countable noun. Are there many apartment buildings? Now traffic. It's an uncountable noun. It's only okay to be used in the singular form. So we're going to use how much. How much traffic is there? Now let's talk about drugstores. Drugstores we can put in the plural form, which means it's a countable noun. How many drugstores are there? And remember, you have a lot of different answers to give depending on the countable or uncountable nouns. The only way to make sure that you understand how to use this topic is by making examples of your own. Think about your city, think about your neighborhood, think about your school or your workplace, and write down your own examples. You have to keep practicing in order not to forget this topic. And I'll see you on the next one.